Welcome back. Take a look at futures this morning. We've got fractional losses ahead of the jobs numbers out. The Dow Industrial's down 41, the Nasdaq down 16, and the S&P lower by about 7. Take a look at Bitcoin this morning, reaching $100,000 yesterday. It is pulling back this morning a bit, now at 98,100, after reaching that milestone level for the first time ever yesterday. And Bitcoin is up 126% year to date. It is up 45% since Election Day alone. Meanwhile, President-elect Trump announced venture capitalist David Sachs to join his administration as the White House AI and crypto czar. This is the first administration to firmly back cryptocurrency. Joining me now is Strive Asset Management CEO and Chief Investment Officer Matt Cole. Matt, good to see you. Your reaction to these new nominations?
I think they're extremely bullish. So we were already expecting the incoming Trump administration to be the most pro-crypto and really the first pro-crypto administration in history. But you take a look at it from the new SEC chair, Atkins, that has already made it clear he's going to make the regulations and the rules of crypto known, which is really all the industry wants. They don't want to be treated like criminals, to have regulation by enforcements, which has been the rule under the Gensler era. You look at the Secretary of Treasury, Bessent, and he's made clear that he views crypto as a tool for freedom, which is anti the stance of the previous administration that viewed crypto as a tool for control through things like CBDCs. And then lastly, to your point, the appointment of David Sachs to lead crypto and lead AI as the crypto and AI czar, I think that's going to cement a very pro-crypto policy across the United States, make us the leader in crypto, the leader in AI. And I think the tailwinds for that for the crypto industry are substantial, and they haven't been fully priced in, even though the crypto industry has done so well since the Trump nomination for the next president.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Paul Atkins. You say that Trump will be the first crypto president, and Paul Atkins is certainly part of this bigger story, right? Because he would be replacing Gary Gensler, who's put a ton of rules and regulations around digital assets. There's also this commentary going on Wall Street on whether or not Paul Atkins is going to get behind and support the idea of merging the SEC with the CFTC. Because as you know, there's been all sorts of regulators wanting in on AI, and there's a lack of clarity. So how important is Paul Atkins at the SEC along with David Sachs in the White House? David Sachs as the new AI czar.
Extremely important. And I would actually say that under the Gensler era at the SEC, there has not been clear regulations, and that's actually been the problem. Right. How can you operate in an industry when you don't even know the rules? You can disagree with the rules, but at least if you know the rules, you know how to operate. And when you don't know the rules, when you're debanked, when you find out you broke the rules because there's an enforcement action against you versus just knowing what the rules are, that's what leads an industry to flee a country. And that's what we were seeing in the United States, and I think Atkins represents a complete reversal in that, in a way that I think could not be more bullish for this country.
Yeah, the Wall Street Journal writes, Trump's defense of the dollar is a window into how he thinks the U.S. should exercise its economic power, and that he thinks tariffs are a more flexible, less harmful way of achieving American foreign policy goals. Matt, talk to us about the dollar and how you see this impacted as a result of this focus on crypto from the incoming administration.
Well, Bitcoin and crypto were going to succeed regardless of if the United States adopted it or not. And I think that the Trump administration's embrace of Bitcoin and the broader crypto industry is extremely bullish from the dollar. The dollar is already the world reserve currency. We have a debt crisis in this country. How are we going to sustain the issuance of U.S. treasuries? We need a buyer. Who's going to be the biggest buyer of treasuries over the next 5 years? My prediction is that it's the stablecoin industry, and that's done through deregulation. And I expect the dollar and Bitcoin and crypto to rise together under the Trump administration.
All right. So we're Luke, jump in here in terms of what you want to do as an investor around this.
Yeah, so when it comes to the Bitcoin side of things, I think it's important to understand that Bitcoin was created to be a currency. It really wasn't created to be a commodity that's added to this balance sheet that's only used as an investment from an investment purpose standpoint. I mean, if you look at gold at like $17 trillion market cap, Bitcoin's a $2 trillion market cap, you're looking at 1/8 of the size of gold. So it's already kind of big in regards to that size, it doesn't have that much more juice around it from that standpoint. But what I'm wondering, Matt, is when you take a look at what Bitcoin is supposed to be from a currency standpoint, how can you actually make it coexist between the U.S. dollar and also the using Bitcoin as a currency from your day-to-day, going to the store and purchasing things?
Listen, I think when Bitcoin first started, it represented competition to the U.S. dollar. But as it's evolved, I think it's really evolved to be digital gold. And you're right that right now it's quickly rising versus gold. I think that the likely scenario is that Bitcoin actually surpasses gold in market cap over the next several years, and it makes a lot of sense. It's interesting. David Sachs had a tweet actually 7 years ago that predicted that Bitcoin specifically would be used by AI agents to do computations and communications with each other. That was 7 years ago. That's something that would be true today, and I think it's picking up steam today. But I think there's a lot of tailwinds to support Bitcoin, and I don't think it has to be at the expense of the dollar, but it would be if the U.S. took a restrictive stance on Bitcoin and crypto.
What about the macro story? Let's talk about that for a moment. We've got the November jobs report coming out this morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. The expectation, 200,000 non-farm payroll jobs added to the economy in the month of November. The unemployment rate is expected to inch higher to 4.2%, Matt. Your expectations here and whether or not this is going to impact the Fed moves?
Listen, I think we get a rebound from the October number, but ultimately this story to me is about revisions, and revisions have been negative. I think jobs are in a troubling place right now.
So in other words, you're thinking things are weakening the economy in terms of the jobs market?
Things are weakening. I think the incoming Trump administration could not come fast enough.
Yeah. Matt, great to see you this morning. Thanks so much.
Good to see you.
All right, Matt Cole joining us. Stay with us. We got a market under pressure and Bitcoin right around 100,000. We'll be right back.
The Jobs Report impact, the market's response to